What is up, everyone? And welcome to the show. Can you hear that? That's wonderful. Beautiful pitter-patter of rain here in Canberra, Australia. It's a good time. I'm going to start opening these things literally with just, hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Sometimes when people say, what's up, it's like, but I'm not in the room, and there's no way for me to reply. Folks, sleep. Al Cisneros, Jason Rhoda, Matt Pike. I first encountered sleep it's definitely well over a decade and a half ago. But, man, the memories. But also right now, I think that they are in their strongest position. And I'm brought to remember and something like, orogeny and like the way that mountains are made, and those deep slumbering things that just grow and become more multifaceted and firmly established, and that's sleep. If you think about it, each of their songs is reflective of the whole. They're ponderous. They are almost immoving, and that's why I love a lot of their lyrics go into things like environments like outer space or deep beneath the ocean or deserts where there's just a stillness to things, Also, that's how, if you're wondering how to do it, that's how you literally just start a podcast, because out of just having that moment of no, we need to start talking about this now, or chronicling, however messy, and that was definitely a messy intro, it needs to begin. I just posted to the Sleep Band podcast Instagram, tagging or mentioning Eric Roper and Jim Bob Isaac and Dave Clock, a few other artists who worked on sleep related graphics. The post was about a sleep RPG, which I have been working on and writing little tidbits about. But oh my goodness, where to begin? And let's definitely get actually properly acquainted. So without those, speaking of sleep, I wake up too long ago. I conked and then woke and then conked again. But yeah, no, to be I have a recollection of Dragonaut as far back as 2007. Jesus. Okay, all right, maybe not the decade and a half, but very close to that. So it would have been after I was convalescing from my army accident, where I was left out on a firing range without high-vis vest, hearing protection, or a bulletproof vest, or a radio. So the quadruple whammy of negligence. So let's just say I was adrift in my own way following that incident in 2007. And then a friend of mine, Simon, really rad dude, knew me from way back in 2004. I was hanging out with him just as it's pretty fresh after the incident, and I'm just chilling with life. I'm on paid convalescence leave, and then eventually paid medical discharge leave. And I've got my Mastodon from 2008, which I started listening to. But to think of it in that way, the first even sleep-related material would have been High on Fire, which I encountered in 2006. Which, if my timeline is right, it means that I encountered High on Fire before. I have a very strong memory of driving around Canberra listening to Death Is This Communion in 2007 or 8. So I don't know if it's, it's fairly safe to say that I came into knowledge of sleep alongside, High on Fire and Mastodon, all in this sort of bunch of years around the 2006, 7, 8 mark, Ice cap miles thaw to freedom, sets free Antarctic legion, awaken limbs to reach a sun's rays, blood thaws throughout the unused veins. Ironically, for a band called Sleep, they like woke me up. They woke me up to their influence. I think is one of the first things you'll hear when people talk about Sleep. Is because I was listening to a band called The Sword at the time. I love The Sword. They have their own distinctive style, but there's no doubt that the tone of guitars and some of the sounds really of some of their songs evoke Dragonaut and evoke early Sleep, you know. And so Simon, when he introduced me, he's like, "Oh well, you know, The Sword's great, but have you heard Sleep?" And we were driving around Phillip here in Canberra. And I was like, no. And they're like, oh, dude, yeah, these guys, like, they did it first. And I was like, okay. And so I dove in my own way. And as happens, you know, it's like the white blood cells of the body. It's like, it was met with resistance, you know, because I put on Dragonaut, and I was like, okay, it's cool. It sort of sounds a bit like Money by Sleep, you know, because one goes, doon, it's sort of that like hopping from riff to note to note, and then Sleep is Pink Floyd is doon doo 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 doo, you know. So I was like, okay, so these are like sonic siblings. So I'm that's great. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe not in the Sword sphere, but maybe in the Pink Floyd sphere ? And then, you know, slowly they kind of just found their way into if I were to use, you know, let's use the Jodorowsky Holy Mountain thing, right? So say my pantheon is like different kind of, and also Mastodon with the Blood Mountain. If you had that brochure, you will remember that there's the slope and like the different kind of tiers of the creatures that live at, you know, various different levels of the mountain. So for me, my absolute highest pantheon, which Sleep now occupies, but at the time it was in the sort of steps. That's STEPPES. I have a band in the making called Epistep, by the way, and they have it's very spooky because as I was developing it a long time ago, I would envision some of what I later saw in Arek's art. So Arek Roper, which is he is Sleep in many ways. That 50%, which George Lucas says, you'll see it in like Star Wars documentaries. He's like, it's 50% sound, 50% visuals, and Arek Roper is he's like the Ralph McQuarrie of the SleepVerse, which is what I call it. I want to really start getting that, you know, out there in people's brain fuzzes. That this is like such a beautiful untapped world, which is like, I mean, we're seeing it in games like Journey and The Pathless and Abzu. That's essentially what this is going to be about. I mean, we're going to go into so many different directions over time with each of these songs, each of these records. And as I mentioned earlier, Sleep's style of output is definitely quality, not quantity. And that's nature, and that's life, and the best things of life are that way. And so there's a lot of savoring going on, a lot of meditating going on. So, but what I'm doing now is with my other hand, just so that, you know, I'm actually trying to find this pitch that I wrote. That tells you, like, I just know it's like, gotta start now. You know what I mean? And so I decided to just jump in, and sometimes you need to do that, especially if you're an introvert. It's like, just do it, just start fucking recording. You know. I just realized as I was telling that story, how much I would really, really love for you know, some people to like write in. That would be rad. They can write into Sleep Podcast contact@gmail.com, or it's probably better to just at me on Instagram. It's quicker. So Albert Kessa, ALBERTCHESSA, right? So then just pitch whatever, and I'll probably end up talking about it on the next episode. Wow. Okay, so I mean, I'm not finding it too easily with my kind of cool little keyword searches, but I've got the whole thing memorized anyway. So essentially, I've been contemplating this concept for a long time. I would say at least 5 years, definitely. And it's, it's one of those things where, in that line from Zoolander, it's like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, when I think about just how fucking perfect sleep would be for a journey or a pathless type game. It's just, you're a Weedian priest and you're wandering around and you're collecting artifacts and you're listening to Sleep's music, obviously. And it just, that's it, the thing fucking creates itself. I mean, you can take it into that side scroller kind of realm if you want, but I think that sort of 360 exploration would really suit. Especially, I mean, you literally, okay, fucking, are you ready for this shit? Ready? You take fucking Sleep from 2012. Sorry, 2012. That's the same thing. So you take Journey. Oh my god, I'm fucking sleepy. It's early morning, for me at least. You take Journey from 2012 and then you literally stick on Abzu, right? Because Journey itself has the desert environment, and then you have fucking the snowy environment in Journey as well, so that takes care of the Antarctican kind of element. And then you have you have the Pathless, which will take care of other kind of, like, they do really great sort of ancient ruins in the Pathless, which would be fantastic for a sleepless game. Not sleepless. I'm sleepless for a sleep game. And it's like, as if there fucking wouldn't be that crossover, that's what I mean about the crazy pills things. It's like, come the fuck on, like, this thing needs to exist, and there has to be, a meeting at least. And this pen and paper thing. So basically I started developing this list of, maybe if I do keyword search Lungsman, if I go to Reddit, might even remove my name too, because I deleted my Reddit at one point. Obviously if you spell Lugsman, that doesn't work. Lungsman. Yeah, so if I can find it. So basically I did a deep dive on Sleep's lyrics, and there's so much alluded to, like the Mystic Cave and the Village of Glass, and if you go to reddit.com/r/mastodon, I've actually started a compendium for, it was just a lore compendium. I just went through Mastodon's lyrics, and I just found so many references to, like, creatures, and so I ended up being able to, like, categorize them, and yeah, things like creatures and environments and artifacts and stuff like that, Yeah. So anyway, I think I found it, because I just did a kind of keyword search. All right. I think there it is. Fuck, I found it. Oh, fuck yeah. Here we fucking go. Now, the original post was deleted, but that's fine, because I have an archived version in a comment, which I'm very glad I did. I don't regret it. Like, I got so fucking existential at one point that I deleted all of my social media. It doesn't matter, like, how fucking far, because I was like, you know what, you fucking companies, you are probably banking on me, like, preserving all this shit and being too afraid to delete my shit that goes all the way back. Well, fuck you. And I deleted it all. A couple weeks later, a couple days later, I had this clarity moment of, like, well, I'm just going to treat it as just a funnel. So whatever fucking outlet I have, it's just a funnel that just sends people to albertkesser.com if they want to read my stuff or look at my art or whatever, and then albertkesser.com/store. So I work government full time, planning on retiring in a few days, that would be great. But in a few years, yeah, with like fucking saving and all that stuff. But that's kind of when I want to dive into my, like, full blown with starting the channel fully with a streaming deck, and and I've got my three things is my art, my storytelling, which is thequantummyth.com, which is this imagined universe that I would even expect a world like the SleepVerse to exist within the quantum myth, which is it's this sort of multi-dimensional mythical universe that I'm kind of developing, and it's supposed to be grounded in what Joseph Campbell talked about, which is the unified monomyth, and there's elements of that, so you can look into that. And then the third element is this, which I just can't help but just go through life without, atting people, extremely talented and worthwhile human beings like Eric Roper. And I've got Matt Pike, who started following the Mastodon podcast, which I also host. I was like, wow, that's rad. And cheers to the democratization of technology for allowing connections like that. I've spoken with Richie Beckett, who did some art for Mastodon. And also Skinner, also known as The Art of Skinner. He and I spoke on the Mastodon podcast too, and the idea is at some point to have a conversation with Eric about something like this happening for real. And we're gonna get this new generation of kids who they can just make a game within a day. I mean, we have dreams. I love the terminology sleep dreams. We have this platform called Dreams where you can just build your own game now, and it was popularized, or rather it was funded by Sony. And just imagine just a bunch of kids, just coming together and be like, oh yeah, cool. And they just fucking team up over the internet, whatever, make it. Eric jumps in, designs it, and the band gives it its blessing. Fuck yeah. So anyway, 8 months ago from user deleted, I'm back on Reddit now, just as Albert Kessa official. So I said, I just thought of something, the lore of sleep. So here's my pitch for a Stoner Legend RPG. So there's, Brutal Legend with Jack Black. Here's Stoner Legend, If you're familiar with weed, there is a high chance you know about stoner metal pioneering band Sleep. Well, I've got an idea for you. Move aside Brutal Legend. I want to see Stoner Legend. Set in Sleep's world, created by artists Eric Roper, Dave Clock, and others in poster/album art for the band. Where that game's theme is metal, this one would be weed. Straight up. Think Brutal Legend plus Horizon Zero Dawn plus some Dark Souls thrown in, as in, the kind of item descriptions which Al Cisneros would have so much fun with. It's, you can look through all the Sleep songs, you can find artifacts like the Beetle carriage and stuff, and he can write little descriptions for that and stuff. This is very much in line with the Mastodon compendium I'm doing, which Richie now knows about and he gave his blessing to, and he did just a poster for this kind of cosmic simian or like this it's a gibbon that's holding like a staff or an orb or something, and I was like, okay, well that's the orb monkey, and he's part of the Mastodon verse now, and you could encounter him as like an NPC or an enemy or something, and it's like this fucking shit fucking writes itself. So I'm gonna have to definitely get involved in some way, because it's like, whether it's leading a team or something or contributing, because it's like these need to exist. And that's why in the Instagram post you'll see it says like the age of the games based on albums has begun, But anyway, tangent, returned from, here we go. Yes, think Brutal Legend plus Horizon Zero Dawn plus some Dark Souls thrown in, heck, even an Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley style botanist minigame where you straight up just grow/harvest weed, relaxing as fuck. 32-bit or pen and paper work too, of course. It could be the first full-blown weed-based game. Where Double Fine's title had flowers growing in the shape of devil's horns, Stoner Legend, it's a temporary title, would have emeralds, emerald fields that you can fly across on your Dragonaut or pterodactyl mount while on a quest to retrieve the keys to the Village of Glass, which is mentioned in their lyrics. God fucking damn, this game needs to exist. Also, weird little tangent. I think there must be like a Village of Glass or something, or a Village of Crystal in the game Tombi or Tomba. It's a Japanese game. And now, for some fucking reason, anytime I see the word like the game Tomba or Tombi, I'm like, here we go, fucking sleep. And it's like, isn't it weird that our brains connect seemingly disparate things? But anyway. So, the universe that Sleep's songs describe, Lungsmen, Dragonauts, Sensimillians, and the like, lends itself perfectly for adaptation as an RPG. Imagine passing a stoner caravan on your way to the riff-filled land. PS5 graphics would be my preference, but even something like Journey's graphics would work. For so few albums as the band have made so far since Volume 1 in the 90s, there is a true wealth of lore to explore and build upon in their lyrics. Intriguing glimpses into an interconnected world, like the fragmented storytelling of Bloodborne or Dark Souls. Eric Roper would have to head up the art team to help flesh out the world of Sleep, including factions, creatures, locations, vehicles, and more. And if Eric is the Mobius figure here, or as I called him, the Ralph McQuarrie figure, specializing in the alien and organic landscapes, Dave Clark would have to be the Ron Cobb guy, specializing in the mechanical side of the SleepVerse. So if you don't know about Dave Clark, he has created some amazing fucking posters for Sleep, and there is a tilt towards the mechanical with him, where for Eric there's a tilt towards the natural, so they would work in that same awesome function as, like Ralph McQuarrie and Ron Cobb kind of thing, or Mobius. Mobius, first of all, would fucking dig the fuck out of this concept. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Oh my fucking god. Just imagine. I mean, there's a game out there right now called Sable. Just Sable. And oh my god, you can't tell me that is like it's almost like the proto Sleep game, and yeah, I strongly encourage you to check that out. And I think they're just about to release, or they're close to releasing. They have a few trailers there, but it's done it's almost a Mobius filter, So if you think about something like Journey, but you just add this sort of, not even quite cell shaded, it's something different. It's like its own thing. I really fucking dig it. So yeah, Sable, check that out. So yeah, if Eric was the Mobius figure, Rowan Cobb, that would be Dave Clark, specializing in the mechanical side of the SleepVerse. I have to fucking Dave Clark with that fucking poster for Antarctican Thord. Alright, so it's based on that song, but the imagery is so, and I commented on his post long ago, Jodorowsky-esque. Jodorowsky as well would be all over this. I just hope that these people in some way know each other, because fuck me, like the collabs that I sense and the kinship that I sense between the two, I'm sure they know of each other, but probably not know each other directly. But man, to know that Jodorowsky knows about Holy Mountain, the Sleep record, like fuck me, that would be so fucking cool. And I can hear him, and this isn't like I'm Italian, so I'm in that kind of sphere, so I'm just going to do the accent. I fucking love Jodorowsky, Imagine if he was like, oh yeah, it's Sleep, If you have seen Jodorowsky's Dune, fuck me. And holy fucking shit. So I do the Dune podcast. I grabbed so many of these URLs were just there. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to chop up my main podcast and then publish it there, but also to these sub-outlets for like out of convenience for people. So, and I'm going to be discussing, we alluded to it in the episode Arabic Origins, which is episode 2, I think, of the Dune podcast. The first one where I've hosted it with Hassan and Emilio. And we talked about, it's so great that I have them both, honestly. I mean, Hassan from the Arabic side, which is, Frank Herbert drew from that world for his world of Arrakis, and then you have Emilio, which I think he's more into the Mexico side, but in that sort of Hispanic side where we can kind of riff a little bit about Jodorowsky. But yeah, back to Jodorowsky, he would fucking love this, and I do love my tangents, but out of courtesy, let's although I will liberally fucking take them. I'll only bring myself back if I want to. Alright, anyway, so until this game is a reality, please dive into what I have collated so far below. I would love for folks to write some of the lore entries in the comments. I will add them to the post. So glad I kept this in this comment, man. I fucking went wild on that scouring of all my shit online. But, I like the idea of... and the internet's great. Nothing's ever really gone, so I can just find the URLs and, paste them into, archive.org. And I'm just about to do that with the original, in case I added to that one and I might be missing some details from this comment. Yeah, folks, for real, nothing is ever gone from the internet. So thank you, Wayback Machine. Although, just as I say that, it may even pop up as like, sorry, we didn't preserve that page. I'm like, fuck. Which has, yeah, there you go. See the page. Oh, this page is available on the web. Help make the Wayback Machine more complete. Holy shit, it is. Oh. Okay, well, fuck. Oh, no matching URLs. See, what? That was a fucking roller coaster. All right, that's weird. Well then, okay, because it asks you to then save it as is. I'm like, okay, well, maybe not. That's fine. Anyway, some of the lovely comments on the original post. You hit that sativa hard was from Weeds and Women. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then I said, follow the smoke to the rift-filled land. Edit, thank you, Weeds and Women, for the nug. Because he just, in the... oh yeah, I think he awarded a nug or something. It was, I think, r/trees has its own... has its own awesome, like reward or award system or something. I think that's what that was, because it's the original post. I can't see it, but that's all right. Right, so yeah, here we go. Fucking, until this is a reality, dive into what I have collated so far below. Would love for folks to write some of their lore entries in the comments. I'll add them to the post. Pick a faction/creature and go for it. We'll have ourselves a community-built SleepVerse wikia in no time, and maybe catch the eyes of the band themselves. In one of the comments, I think it's somewhere here, I'm going to read it, hopefully, someone mentions that they're like, oh yeah, the dudes from Sleep are big RPG dudes. I'm like, fuck, like this needs to write itself, so... Yeah, I've reached out to reddit.com/sleeperband, but they, not to make the obvious pun here, but it feels like the mods are asleep. It feels like they are, and love and light to them, but I think I've reached out a few times and they haven't replied, but that's okay. Yeah, so inspirations. Cyberpunk, obviously you've got that meticulousness of, as in, I'm talking about Mike Pondsmith's Cyberpunk pen and paper, not what came out. I've different thoughts about that. I do have Cyberpunk podcasts on Instagram where I've commented a bit here and there, but I still have to dive into my full thoughts. And yeah, anyway, onwards. Brutal Legend, Horizon Zero Dawn, Journey, Sand Pilgrimage, Abzu, Water Pilgrimage, Mad Max, Factions, Dune, as in Villeneuve's Dune, Vistas and Lore, early Final Fantasy, overall design. A production note, it'll be fun to try and subtly insert weed into every facet of the game world. P.S. If any games designers would like to collaborate on a fan game, let me know and let's make it happen. So the mood setter, imagine entering a new area and the location name, Village of Glass, appearing on your screen like in Bloodborne and the like. Fucking come on. All right, read on. So, all right, my super duper in progress in-game grimoire, which I'm saving this now. I'll just go sleep RPG in my Command D, I think that's the saver page. And so I can build on it later. So factions, I have the Lungsmen, which I mentioned in a few lyrics, the Herbsmen, the Creedsmen, the Weedians, keeper of the magic caravan, a simpler and scrappier version of the Weed Priests, the clergy, the clergy arrive with the magic potion, bearers of the magic potion and baptizers of Nain. Ha ha ha, fuck yeah. All right, the Hashishians, so also known as the Weed Priests, they are the oldest followers of the Creed of the Weed, or the Way of Weed. The Marrownauts, encased in smoke suits, emitters of riff beacons. These lone travelers search the cosmos for weed-habitable worlds to explore. The sensimillians, also known as... I got to take that again. Encased in smoke suits, emitters of riff beacons, these lone travelers search the cosmos for weed-habitable worlds to explore. Anyway, had to do that. The sensimillians, also known as the dreamers, they are denizens of the Sensimilia, a world now believed to be lost beneath the THC. For their weed diligence led to their downfall, though they yet remain in dream, sleep, and in waking as apparitions that guide the player on. Man, I fucking want this game so bad. Jesus Christ. Fuck, hopefully putting this out there on a podcast will get some people, get the ball rolling. Okay, another faction is the botanists. See how fucking much you can do about weed, guys? Jesus Christ. Also, I'm after this going to read my article about my personal relationship with weed, 2008 to 2012. love and light to people who do it. It is the safest recreational substance, so much safer than alcohol. So many lives would be saved if it became the standard social lubricant, right, compared to fucking alcohol, which is just, it's so bad. And additional shit, like the confirming thing is weed comes from the ground naturally, Jesus, and you have to jump through all kinds of death loops. You know, that's a game coming from Bethesda. Anyway, you have to jump through all this kind of weird like fermentation and all this stuff to make this fucking stuff that like fucks with you, alcohol. Okay, so just, weed, that's all you need when it comes to that sort of thing. Anyway, the botanists, a sect of marijuanauts who have chosen to stay planet-bound and create new strains of weed within their custom-built weed spheres. Fuck yes. I wrote all this 8 months ago. I'm riffing on it. I dig it. I'm stoked. And hopefully it'll be great to jump onto a team to help make this real. The Antarcticans. And this is just fucking sleep. This is what they've made. And I'm just like, arranging it into a few shapes, adding tidbits here and there. But it's all them, So the Antarcticans, also known as the Ice People of Matterhorn, or Matterhorn Children, they are led by a mysterious glacial stoner priest. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. The Aquarians, keepers of the Atlantean Key. The Dragonauts, brave navigators of the red skies. Also, one more note about the Antarcticans. Now, I rushed into talking about them. Because that stuff there I was saying about how, like, I do feel strongly about, like, I know I'm like 2 degrees away from people who have died because of alcohol, and like aggressively fuck alcohol, seriously. And I had to like pause the fun to like actually hit that home. Nothing but fun has been had on weed. All right, I believe you should do it at the right time if you're gonna do it. And I think developmentally you don't want to mess with your brain too much before 21. So I would low key. I know there's very likely people have dipped into it before. I dipped into it before I was 21, I think. Was I? No, I think I was 20. So an extra year would have been good. But that's when I think the age when your brain is done, it's like most of it's completing and developing. So that way, like, you can incorporate it safely. That's advice. It won't kill you if you do it earlier. It's just night and day better for you than alcohol. So anyway, I have a thing. After this, I'll read it, and it'll be good to put that out into the world too. But I didn't want to just rush in and just, like, it had to be said, and love and light to folks who are in that weird sphere. And it's great, on the last item description, or, culture description, the botanists, I say, botanists living within their weed spheres. And that's there's so much art that's been done for sleep. I love that sleep and weed both share ease. Like how THCs, sorry. Anyway, as in they're both words that have 2 E's in them, which is great. It just is. I don't know why. And I think an E looks like someone, like, kind of like an eye half awake almost, because it's got the lid on the top of the shape. So I love it. I don't know. I guess I'm thinking a bit like a logo. And that comes from, also Eric, who I believe he designed the weed see what I mean? They're interchangeable. The sleep logo, so I dig it. I dig all of it. All right, onwards. So I talked about the Antarcticans, the Aquarians, and now the Dragonauts. So brave navigators of the red skies, the player obtains his own Dragonaut mid-game in this. Yeah, just fucking, oh man. Can you imagine that in the graphics of something like, again, you could go into that direction. I just think, honestly, whatever team behind this game should just take RX art and just make it alive and just say, hey, just turn this world into reality, like make it real. I want to see Dragonaut Eries, right? Dragonaut stables, so you can go up to these these majestic creatures which you see in RX art. There's a very iconic image of a Dragonaut, It's I have it on the lapel, the pewter lapel pin, which Third Man Records put out. Beautiful. And I think they're quadrupedal, and they're basically dragons. They have their own kind of Eric Roper-ish kind of spin, but they're also cosmic dragons that can presumably fly between planets, I think. So that's fucking rad, and no one can fucking tell me that wouldn't be phenomenal. An amazing, amazing experience. So it's like, yeah, you've gotten mid-game, and then Metroidvania style, you are able to, in a similar way to, no crazy spoilers, but in the Pathless, you have your eagle companion who can help you access places you weren't able to access before. Over time, you can enable your, maybe it's like a Dragonaut that needs like rehabilitation or something, and it's like, or actually, no, fuck it. Healthy, nice, happy Dragonaut. Now that we're doing some riffing on this and like brainstorming, yeah, it would just be maybe over time find certain artifacts or whatever that allow it to like glide for longer, and it would just be, I mean, fucking, I'm sure a bunch of you guys have played Spire the Dragon, and you can like get extra glides or whatever, so fuck me, that would be rad. Yes. Yes, indeed. And yeah, shout out to Hogwarts Legacy, which hopefully, if they do things right, you'll be able to jump on the back of a hippogriff, which I've, since Azkaban, the film, I was like, okay, well, an open world thing, obviously, where you can like fly around and like access like just like super duper high peaks, and then like, those glacial peaks, there's an entrance, and then, Tolkien style, you can like, flap, like land your griffin, and in this case, let's shift back to sleep, land your Dragonaut there, and it's whatever, like a passageway downwards, or candles illuminating a small kind of stoner pilgrim's shrine, and you can open a chest and find new riches and new equipment, and just read lore notes. Like, fuck me, this oh man, it's all in my head. Like, I could just sit the fuck down and like outline it to like a Cory Barlog or a Matt Nava and just be like, let's just come on, like Eric's right there, everyone's right here ready for this thing to happen. So and it's, COVID has introduced this ability for people to just cross collaborate and like design things just from wherever they are. You don't even need a bunch of people be in a studio. You can just create shit over the internet. So we're really about to emerge into this golden era of creativity with faster internet connections and democratized access to one another and stuff. So fuck yeah. Anyway, I went off with the Dragonauts for a while there, but yeah, like I said, I love the vibe and I dig it, and yeah, I mean, I'm actually it's like, because I'm just riffing with you guys as though you were here, and you are here, all of you. Love and light to you all. And I'm kind of making those and creating those spaces just for you guys to be like, well, yeah, because that's what I'm. If you weren't digging this, you'd have clicked away a long time ago. But if you're still here and you're vibing it, it's like, fuck, come on, like, fuck yes. So let's dive deeper into the SleepVerse, folks. Yes, with the Dragonauts, with the I say, here's it, obtain his own Dragonaut, but I don't think they're called that. I think that's the name for the pilot, so their own dragon, I'll say. Be able to obtain that mid-game, can name it and purchase saddles and the like, and it is also able to explore previously unknown areas. The Cultivators are another faction. The Choir of the Sun is another faction. The Iomians, followers of the Iomic life, the Covenant of the Spliff of Flame, is another faction, and that's the last one, so I don't know how many in total. I do love my numbers, so we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Of fucking course. Whenever I can, I think I was like, I'm not going to contrive it and stretch it, but if I can find 16 factions, that's rad. And because 16 is the number of Colossi in Shadow of the Colossus, and it's one of my favorite games. And I love that number 16. It feels kind of weirdly sacred to me. Locations, we have planet Iomia, obviously encased by the Iomosphere. Behold as he enters the clearing, planet Iomia nearing. Okay. Fuck yes. Okay. So, Saturn V, Saturn 5 Rise, To ionosphere he flies. Fuck yes. We have the solar sea, and I literally just went through all the lyrics of Sleep. You have the solar sea, the sand sea, the sky sea, the oaken tower. These are all locations referenced in Sleep lyrics, folks. The astrosphere, the castle of sleet, the hash oil leagues, as in a different ocean. Then you have the THC, which is, probably composed of, it's like salt water, fresh water. Maybe the hash oil leagues eventually meet the THC. If you were going to design a map, maybe I will commission someone at some point. Hey, can you just do a map of, some of these fucking planets? I also do the Masters podcast. I'm not fucking around, people. I'm serious. Like, I have 263 of these fucking outlets and growing. I'll probably coast at 350 at some point, but that's roughly. It's like, these are shows that I could fucking, as in, worlds that I could endlessly conceptualize about and riff with people about. And the Albuquerque podcast is just the main giant feed with everything. But holy fucking shit, like, why not parse it out so that if people are only interested in my thoughts on one topic, then fucking go right ahead. Right, the wall of light. I mean, I get images from that of Fantasia, like the Ivory Palace. That would be fucking rad. The astral sands, the emerald fields, the tomb of deadly freeze, the village of glass mentioned before, the holy mountain, which has to be fucking full of Jodorowsky or Hodorowsky, Easter eggs and allusions, as you're climbing this mountain. Also, there's a game, Black Myth Wukong, which I also, again, you can officially, your eyes are going to get tired if you eye roll for each one, but it's true. Like, I have a podcast feed, Instagram.com/Black Myth Podcast. And that's going to be a retelling of another tale that features mountains pretty prominently. It's the Wukong, it's the Monkey King, right? Also, Karl Kopinski needs to be involved in this. Like, his design sensibilities would be fucking perfect for this. So Karl and Arik doing work on this would be incredible. To mention, the reason I mention it is because there's certain glimpses of that if we were going to do like a pitch document, I would actually crop out those screenshots of like, this is kind of the vibe we're thinking when we're thinking about the Holy Mountain and the ascent to the Holy Mountain, because and it would be a fucking incredible, it would be a whole endeavor. I mean, if you've played Journey, you know exactly what I mean. Also, we just hit, as I talked about Holy Mountain, it hit 42 minutes, so Douglas Adam fans out there. You have the Hashtaroid fields. Oh yeah, actually I wasn't finished with fucking Holy Mountain. Come on, it would just be this massive, like, filled with different tiers and shrines. Like, the ascent would be incredible, like reading your lore notes on the way, like tablets and stuff on the way, encountering different creatures, maybe the spirits of monks who have ascended it, like other wheat priest monks and stuff. And if you have Breath of the Wild there for reference for that, encountering all the different kind of Sheikah priests. So it would be a big deal. Like, it probably could even be like the ending level, like the Holy Mountain, so fuck yeah. But I listed them, alphabetically, which is why I'm moving on from the H's to the O's to the etc. Oh, no, I didn't. Actually, no, I did list them as they came to me. But anyway, that just is something that I haven't made notes for it, but that's definitely what that would be. Right, the Hashtaroid fields. Fuck yes. I mean, again, we're talking Empire Strikes Back here, Fuck yes. Hell yeah. And yeah, you'd have to compulsory, little Easter egg to the Empire Strikes Back sequence with the Exogorth, I think that's what they're called, which are the Shai Huluds of the asteroid field in Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars, So have to be some kind of, maybe a tablet or a mural or something. Fucking, by the way, that mural. Oh my god. The mural of the Shai Hulud in Villeneuve's Dune. Just fucking, oh my god, October, man. I mean, again, if it gets pushed back because of COVID, that's, That's what it'll be. Yeah. All things happen in time. Also, listen to Sleep to really ground yourself and just be like, fucking smoke some weed, fucking sleep, listen to Sleep, and just be like, you know what? I'm not going to stress. I'm looking forward to, if I have time, because these have an hour limits, these wonderful anchor missives, good times. Okay, so the Oceanisan, which I love that fucking word. It's the word ocean and the word sun with a little I in the middle. So the Oceanisan is mentioned in their lyrics. The Bosk, which is an ancient word for, not ancient, just an Elden word. Shout out to Elden Ring. Also the podcast happening there. Fuck yeah. Oh man, like, come on. Okay, we're gonna park the car again, motherfuckers, because we live in a world where Hidetaka Miyazaki is making a game with George R.R. Martin, and that seems disparate, but it's, if you think about it, it's not. And that is exactly why I brought it up, is like, if you think about it, they're not that fucking disparate, I just realized saying the word disparate in English sounds like a New Zealand person saying the word desperate. It's so disparate. I love New Zealand. Shout out to our neighbors. Anyway, back on topic. Fucking Flight of the Conchords. Back on topic. Right? So that, like, Arik Ropa, that game company, it's not that crazy. It fucking is not that crazy. So do not at me about that. Right? So, like, again, I guess you can go, stranger things have happened, if you want to, use that phrase. Right? So we can hold out hope of this, and especially if we're putting it out into the universe, as I'm doing now. Please do if you feel something similar and you're like, yeah, post about it. We can get behind a fucking hashtag. Obviously, there are way more worthwhile hashtags out there to kind of galvanize and stuff. But after you've subscribed and supported those causes, here you go. Right, so we're closing out the locations, folks. We have the Weed Fields, the Clearing, Beholder Z enters the Clearing, Planet Diome are nearing, as mentioned before, the Place Inside the Sun, the Tree Stump Altar, the Glowing Eye, the Valley of the Evil One, which for me makes me think of the Last Guardian, the Master of the Valley, So again, that will definitely be touched upon. And I can't believe we've gotten 47 minutes into a podcast describing like the very tip of the Antarctican iceberg of this idea, which we're going to flesh out over time, however many years, without mentioning Fumito Ueda. And I do a podcast, the Ueda podcast. I'm just not going to mention the whole thing. I mean, apart from this, I'm pausing things to talk about it now. But the whole idea of like, oh my God, you have a podcast about that too? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'll just be like, yeah, I do this. And Devil May Cry, again, Dragon Age, Temeraire, it's all there. Yeah, I'll eventually follow them all on my Instagram so you can find them when it reaches the 300-ish mark or whatever. But anyway, back to the Valley of the Evil One. So, and yeah, I fucking love The Last Guardian. My fucking God, again, that has to be a touchstone for this hypothetical but soon not to be hypothetical team of people creating this title, right? Fuck. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, the Dunescape, right? That distinctive art, which I've got actually here. It's the gatefold art for Dope Smoker. That needs to be plastered like across each person who works on these games. Again, if we're talking non-COVID analogies, it's like if there was like a game studio, for example, working on this, that would have to be printed, in its full expanse to the highest level of quality. Maybe even ask Arik for a new higher quality scan or whatever. Fucking right across the top of the main floor where people will have their computers and they're actually creating this thing, because that is like such a statement thesis of the sleep vibe. It is the, if you just look from the horizon downwards, it's just some people in some robes, but then you pan up and you see the skyship, right? And it's like, holy fucking shit. Holy shit. Like, this universe is like, you can cover, Al Cisneros and Chris Hakius, they did Om, and, they dive into the real stuff behind this, like the Advaitic songs, like he has that, a leg in that world, And that for me, when I heard The Clarity, which was their first song in multiple decades, I think, you know, that is Alcest Neros coming off of Om, and you could sense that it had spilled like this wisdom, this real world, legit like spiritual sensibility and practice that he's incorporated into his belief systems and stuff, that you could feel that become a part, you know, become a part of it. And I had started creating this work called Wellspring in after listening to Advaitic songs, and I was playing Journey at the same time. So 2012 to 2013-14 are very special kind of like the sleeper awakening. And I just got that reference now. I can't fucking believe it. The sleeper must awaken. Jesus. That long you spend with a band, and just made that connection. But anyway, with Dune, obviously, I'm referring to how the sciences has multiple allusions to Frank Herbert's Dune, which we'll look at that beautiful kind of full circle. So starting out in that sci-fi realm, the stoner realm, going into the Om realm, and same with Matt. You know, he started in that kind of, bunch of young stoner kids, but like always with a sense to of the religiosity, of a sense of the meditativeness. Even that early on, you could have chalked it up to just like, wow, they're literally that fucking stoned that they just can't move faster or whatever. But there was always, even in their 20s or late 20s, mid 20s, they had a deference in some way to, you know, they even brought into the conceptualization and in the descriptions of, you know, the lyrics of Dope Smoker, with allusions to like Jerusalem and it feels moderately to very well researched. It doesn't seem just, you know, thrown out those words for like, oh, you know, Jerusalem sounds cool or whatever. It's like they feel like the real deal in that way. And so all of this, including RX direction on this RPG, hypothetically, there'd be a grounding in what's real, and it wouldn't just be like, again, anyone involved with sleep for any length of time, either on the creative side or listening to its side, they just get the sense of, you know, taking your time is of benefit. And speaking of taking my time, guess what? We're coming to the hour, and I might not even have time to either finish this post, I'll see how I go, or to dive into my article, which is The Way of the Stoner. It's an article I wrote on my site. And I think that might be a nice thing to leave for the next one, actually. Yeah. Let's walk our talk on that, folks. But I'll leave you with a few more little tidbits from the compendium so far. So, the Valley of the Evil One, and then the last location I have is the Wall of Yawn, which is the title of a song. And that whole, you know, like the Wall of Lothric, right there, you know, Dark Souls people shout out, creates itself, you know. So religions, as in belief systems, we have the Smoke Covenant, the Iomic Way. For flora, we have lamb's bread, which is weed. The Riff Tree, which produces the bong water of life, can be collected by the player. Indica, obviously weed. A couple of characters here. We have Nain, Solomon, the Cleric, the Surgeon, the Hierophant, Nebuchadnezzar, the Lone Stoned Soul. These are all mentioned. This is all canon in the Tome of Sleep. As you find these characters, they're all mentioned. The Man on the Moon, the Creek Hippie, the Kifsats Hashirak, aka Muad Dub. Obviously a play on Kwisatz Haderach, you know, from Frank Herbert's Dune. And the CBD can. Yeah, the CBD can. Fuck yeah. In game literature and tomes, we have The Clarity, which is presumably a book about clarity, written no doubt by perhaps the Lungsmen. Although I could see it very... I want to see a Bene Gesserit, you know, analog faction in the world of sleep. The 17th faction or whatever, or the 18th. Or the hidden faction, you know, The Clarity. They could be the hidden ones, maybe. I would love for them to be this like all female stoner, fucking just hash smoking mystical women. You know, that would be amazing. So yeah, and I would call them the hidden ones, and they wrote The Clarity. So this term maybe clarity about the universe, clarity about, and I would love for there to just be that just a nod to them, and they could be a mysterious, faction you encounter once in a while. But anyway, so the Sciences is another tome, obviously. The Crimson Door, the Hymn of Doom, the Chronicle of the Sensimillian, the Chronicle of the Sensimillian, the Ice Age Siege, the Ritual, and the Yield. So all of these are books you can find in the world of the SleepVerse. Deities. We have the Sonic Titan, who is going to be a central figure. Ragnarok or something. In Brutal Legend, there's like a central deity that there would be, and then there's other sub-deities and stuff, but the Sonic Titan would be the nameless kind of like guiding deity of the SleepVerse. And obviously there's a song title called Sonic Titan, written long ago, but re-recorded beautifully for the Sciences. Fuck, I'm so glad the Sciences exists. Creator of the universe of sleep, Sonic Titan, so that which holds the worlds is an immaterial being, as in think Eden from Bloodborne. So that's only two. It could be just the one. Maybe it's a monotheistic thing, but I envision two. So that which holds the world is a deity, and Sonic Titan is a deity. You have creatures. You have the phantasmal spectre, a damned soul, a sunken face, and an unclean skeleton, which are all mentioned in songs. Vehicles. You have Suncraft, Sky Barge, Wind Ship, Insect Caravan, Stoner Caravan, Magic Caravan, the Nazarene, which is mentioned here and there, but I think mentioned once, but for me it's like a vessel, like in the Warp Riders it's like the Sword or the Millennium Falcon. So the Nazarene, a Stoned Chariot, a fucking incredible, Dave Clark, if you're listening to this, so there's a vessel, and it's based on a Sleep lyric, the Triple Beam. So go nuts. Like it's a vehicle. It's in the SleepVerse. It's called the Triple Beam. Presumably it's fucking fast, really fast. So have fun designing that. Sea Descender. Then the Liquid Dawn, which is another, spacecraft name. Spells. You have the Misty Haze, the Spectral Gaze, and the Anti-Moon. I realize as I'm saying this, I can't help but doing the Alcisneros kind of affect there on the words. Artifacts: the Eye of Silver Sun amulet, the Bong Jabbar, fuck yes, the Chalice Cup of Giza, as in Giza Butler. Sayings: the Bong Pact is speaker one says drop out of life, and then the second speaker says with bong in hand, which is the equivalent in this world of may the force be with you and also with you. Then you have the Riff Code, which is a way for weed priests to identify each other in the wild, which is speaker one says follow the smoke, and the other speaker says to the riff-filled land. My character's name is Solos, a former lungsman, nomad living on the outskirts of the village of Glass, who goes on a pilgrimage. I envisioned that, I think, on a giant walk here in Canberra. I go on massive walks. If you lived here long enough, you'll know me by my that dude who walks all across Canberra. That's a bit like, no, of course, maybe you fucking don't even know who I am. Who cares? And I just walk around this beautiful bike paths here in Canberra. So and I say there, let me know your thoughts in the comments. So Plants Are Peaceful answered 8 months ago saying, you certainly put some thought into this. I think it's a great idea for a pen and paper RPG game. I've heard that the guys in the band play D&D often. Roder is the DM. You should try and get into contact with the band or artists and pitch it to them. You never know. I'd love to help you work on it. So I will be back in touch with you based on this, my friend. I say to them, thanks so much for the feedback. Great to meet you. Work on this together. Makes total sense with the D&D aspect of the band. I reckon you and I can flesh the original Reddit post, then we tweet at them, I suppose. I think there's also weedian@gmail.com possibly. Feel free to get started on any factions. Just comment on the original post, which I've deleted, but whatever. So with your lore updates, and I'll edit the post with them. Sleep D&D pals for the win. Fist bump emoji. Check out albertkesser.com for a preview of some of the art I'll make for the pitch. But folks, that'll be it for now. We actually got through the whole post, which is neat. And so that'll be that for this one. But for the next one, we'll dive into The Way of the Stoner from my journal. You can pre-read it if you want, but I'll just dive into the same thing I did here, which is annotate as I go along for the next one. But until next time, bye for now.